Here we go. Let's go, Jared. Let's go. How's everybody doing today? Day 14. Here we go. Day 14. Man, look what I'm wearing. Look what I got on. I had to put on a sweater. I had to put on a little sleeve action. You know what I mean? It's getting cold out there right now, people. It's getting cold. I'm still wearing shorts. Had to put on socks. Had to put on some sleeves. Woo-hoo! I feel bad for old James. He's over there in England. He was telling me that, like, the sun goes down at 4 o'clock over there. They don't see the sun until next spring. They say it's cold as hell. It even snows for a whole month. Damn, bro. I feel you, bro. I have to send you a care package or something. A little sunshine from California. Damn. Talk about being depressed. You got to get yourself women, except, you know, all the women are getting fat over there. Or, you know what? Did you see them trying to get kidnapped off the streets? Did you see them people over there in England? Visitors, them asylum seekers, 2 men tried to snatch a woman and put her in a car. They got it all on video. That's wild. Anyway, for enough of that. We'll talk about that later. Happy day 14. How's everybody doing? It's Columbus Day today. We're all excited about that, okay? We're all pumped about it. How you doing today? Okay? Did you have a good weekend? Boy, I had a good weekend. Did you see that live? Talking about gender language? That was some heavy stuff, man. We were talking about the language of the world and the language of relationships, okay? And that was crazy. You know, you think about this kind of stuff a lot. When you start thinking about it, it's easy to parse it out and make sense of what's really going on and where the deception lies, okay? And, you know, that's very important as a writer. You got to be able to be sensitive to that and also use it for your own stories, because there ain't nothing better in a story than a great deception. You know what I mean? Woo! We love a great deception around here. Now, on Sunday, then we had that, yeah, it was yesterday. We had that big old Italian cookout, man. Made a pizza and made that whole mess of spaghetti. If you didn't watch it, go watch it right now. It's fucking good times. You'll love it. You know, it's the kind of thing where the kitchen is the heart of the house. When you got a good, strong, warm heart, it really warms up and makes the experience of living in that house enjoyable and fun. Have you ever walked into somebody's house and, like, they got the kitchen going, the woman's in the kitchen or whatever, and that aroma just greets you when you walk in the door, and the hospitality, the kitchen that's in process of producing all this good food. You know, you look over there, she's making bread, she's making cakes, she's making lasagna, she's making all this stuff at once, and you can go in there and get yourself a little sample. Then get on going down your day, and then you know that later on that day you're gonna have a great meal. It's gonna be good stuff. Woo-hoo! Gonna be good stuff, man. That's what it's all about right there. That's what we did yesterday. So go watch it, be a part of it, okay? Have a little culture, a little bit of family time, okay? Go watch that Sunday Fun Day with the spaghetti. That was a lot of fun. Long day though. I mean, it took me forever to make that thing. And it's probably took me the longest ever to make that video. I started it in the afternoon and went into the night. But hey, if you're going to make good spaghetti on that scale, that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. So that was a lot of fun. Now, how are you doing today? Are you stoked? Are you excited about what's going on? You got your passion flowing. You got that genuine desire peaked, primed, ready to pull you in the direction that you want to go in your life? I hope so. If not, get it together. Find something to get excited about, okay? I was all excited because I know that Jared's got a match today. So I was like, all right, we're going to get up. We're going to watch that. We're going to see what's going on. Excited about that, you know, that journey. We're really pumped about it. And we're going to have Hillbilly Harry on here in a little bit. I'll probably tack it on the end of this video like I did last time. We'll get a little update, see what's going on. He's got 3 tournaments this week, okay? Jared's got 3 tournaments. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Man, even to be a part of it's a big deal, okay? Even to be invited to these tournaments is huge. He's like one of like a few from the entirety of America going there, people. Think about that. Think about the scale of what he's doing. He's going up against the best in the world from all over the world. They got all the tricks. They know all the little things. The learning curve is steep, but we support him. We're excited about it. He's a champion for just stepping out there on the mat and be willing to go up there and compete, you know, put his pound of flesh on the scale for it to be measured and weighed. You know, that's really the desire of every man. Competition. That's exciting. Gets my juices all pumping and flowing right now. I want to go hip toss somebody. Where's the mailman at? I'll throw that motherfucker through the door. We need our mailman, right? We need him. He's got to bring all my Amazon shit. How else am I going to order all this stuff I don't need, you know? No, I need it. I take it back. I need it. So how's that critical eye? You got him in a little headlock. Got to hip toss the critical eye. Keep him in the hole. Use that impulse control, people. It's your greatest weapon, especially nowadays, man. They trying to, you know, train that out of people, that impulse control. So everybody always steps on the rakes and it smacks them in the face, you know. Fucking idiots, you know, like Sideshow Bob. Damn it, use that impulse control. Take power, take power over your life, okay? Take power over your life. Use it. Keep that critical eye in the hole, okay? And then how's that schedule going? You got that thing lined up? Even if it's just 30 minutes a day. Hell, maybe you think that's too much. Just do 15. 15 minutes a day. Put your notebook on your desk or your dresser or whatever. Leave it open. Leave your notebook open, right? So it's ready to go. Have your pen clicked, sitting right there on top of your notebook, just like that, okay? Just like that. You see that? Have it sitting just like that. So that you don't have no startup time and no teardown time, all right? So it's just pure 15 minutes of writing. And then walk in there and stand at your dresser. You might be naked. You might be in your boxers. You might be drinking a beer, brushing your teeth with beer. I don't know, however you do it, okay? And then get that pen out and just start writing some stuff off the top of your mind, all right? Do it every day this week, 15 minutes. At the end of the week, we'll look back over it and shape it into a story. You'll be surprised about what you come up with. We got Mr. Jeeky, man. He's been writing some bangers. He put three or four really great paragraphs or vignettes, slices of life of his memory bank out there, okay? Posted it. We looked at it. I reposted them. They're great, okay? There's a story about how he would seek solace when he was tired of playing with his older brothers and go with the nerdy kid down the block. It was great. Then he had a story about the first time he saw a dead body in the military. It was fucking great. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's gold right there. You could put a whole story around those things. Both of those. Okay? Those are fucking gold. That's what we're talking about. All right? So I want you to go out there and mine that gold, people. Mine that fucking gold. Let's get after it. All right? 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. Before you know it, you'll be having ideas coming out your ears and you'll be putting them together. Okay? Now, I ain't saying you're going to be some great writer or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's possible. It's possible for everybody to be a great writer. I'm going to tell you that right now. But the only thing that delineates if you will be or if you won't be is if you're passionate about it. Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy it? But I'll tell you this. You'll try to do the writing. And if it's not up your alley, you'll find something else that is. And the writing will be a stepping stone to get to that other thing. Maybe you want to be a frog gigger. You know what I mean? You know, those guys who take and go stab the frogs in the middle of the night and then bring them home and then fry them up. Maybe that's what you want to be. Maybe you don't want to be a writer, but you want to be a frog gigger. Or maybe you want to have your steel of moonshine out in the woods there, right? And you love tinkering and getting that moonshine steel going. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're sitting out there when the moonshine's going, you write a couple things down. Hell, it could become a book. That's how J.D. Vance made it. Am I right? Think about that. J.D. Vance got there through hillbilly elegy. I ain't lying, okay? So think about that, okay? It is all designed to prime your passion. Once you get your passion flowing, you can direct it in any venue, any direction you want to, in order to really stoke that fire of what you're really excited about. All right? So that's what we want to do. We want to get it going, find out what you're really excited about, and then center your life around that. Now, hell, you might even fucking, I don't know, become a surfer. You might become a deep sea fisherman. Maybe you want to buy a boat and become a guy who takes people out on, like, you know, yachts, or not yachts, but, you know, you take different guys out deep sea fishing and you're the little captain of your boat, and you go out there. Maybe your life changes. You retire, or you get some money, or you get an inheritance, and you do that, and you go out there and you never watch any of these videos again. Well, it was worth it. It was worth it, wasn't it? It was worth it. That's what I mean. There are these little tiny branches off in your life of these paths that you can take. Okay? Now, a lot of people always take the wide, safe path. All right? Gamble on yourself. It's not really a gamble. You might think it is because right now you're not sure what the outcome's going to be. But it's not a fucking gamble, because the way that life works is that opportunities unfold where you put your attention, where you put your energy. And they grow up before you to present themselves for you to select. That's how it works. If you keep putting your attention in the safe venue, that's the only opportunities you're going to get. Okay? You're going to be like in a little nanny state, little kindergarten. You got your teacher and your nanny running around making sure you don't break the rules. Don't go beyond the board boundaries. You know, you get outside of that kindergarten, you get out there on them back heels, and you get riding your bike down them paths and doing some jumps, and you really take charge of your own life. You direct it where you want it to go. You turn out to be like Jared, and you fly across the world, and you end up in Portugal. You know, you end up like that story that Hillbilly Harry said when he walked into the stadium and everybody was booing him. Think about how powerful that is. To be a person that everybody wants to boo, bro. That gets me excited. That's how much of an impact he's having on other people's lives. That they would boo him. Everybody. Like, is there 100,000 people who would boo you? No. There ain't even 100,000 people who even think about me or even know my name. Hell, I can't even get over 200 people on YouTube. You know what I mean? I've been stuck at 1,000 people on that damn Twitter forever. All right, I'm halfway thinking I should show some nipple. Try to get it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is even going on over here, people? Nobody gives a rat's ass about me. So it's a great thing, even especially from a man's point of view, when you got 100,000 people who come out wanting to boo you. Because we all know that energy, emotion is easily changeable. That's the secret that men know that women don't know. Okay? Hate is the same as love. It just takes one little stroke to change it. Okay? You get that volume of emotion. That's the only thing that matters. Pump that person up with the volume of emotion and then change and redirect what that emotion can be. Change it from hate to love. Make them people love you, okay? And that's what we're doing here with writing. Now, you know, I wanted to touch briefly on one thing. When you think about your writing, all right? Now, initially, when you're putting up the structure of your story, it's very, very helpful to think about people, story, things in broad strokes, okay? You want to have it in like a broad, easy to understand concepts. And what you do is you build the structure of your story first, okay? And then you go ahead and then you detail it and you make it all nice and all that kind of stuff later. Okay, you don't try to do all that stuff all at the same time. Sometimes it could be too overwhelming. Okay, so I want you to consider that. Like say for example, we take Hillbilly Harry, right? I mean not Hillbilly Harry, but Mr. Jakey, and he was talking about the first a body that he ever saw in the military, right? So he's going to write himself a little story. He has that nice vignette, and he wants to build around that vignette, right? So he's going to take that, and he's going to talk about, in his mind, generally where it's going to take him, right? Where it did take him, okay? Then he's going to lay down that general structure, and then he's going to go back with his imagination, and he's going to infuse that and inject it and optimize it. Optimize the story through his imagination, all right? Now, you might not fully grasp what I'm saying, but I want you to think about that. I want you to ruminate on that. It's going to be a two-step process. It's very much like what we were doing when we did the simple shapes when we were drawing, and then the abstract shapes, and then the anatomical shapes. We start out with the simple shapes just to get where we want to go, right? Then we're gonna have the more of the abstract shapes where it's starting to look more and more like a person, but they're like kind of cubical. And then the anatomical shapes where we take those cubical shapes where we refine those and we get it looking just like the person we want it to look like. Everything is that process, okay? So in the process of writing, what you like to do and what you often do is you have a memory or you come across in a relationship that sparks something fantastic inside of you. Okay, you get that passion, it resonates with you. You remember it, you think about your friend, whatever it is, and then quickly your imagination, you're sucked into that portal of imagination. Well, quickly run and write that down. Okay, write that down. Get those pieces of imagination down. Okay, so we got those pieces of imagination down. Now we're going to take the next step and we're going to turn it into a story. So we got to think about what do we want to express with this story? So we have to think in those broad general terms. What do I want to tell the reader? What do I want to share with them? And when I'm telling the reader something, it's not like I'm trying to tell them something. I might just be trying to share this experience that I had of friendship. I might be just trying to discuss what friendship really is and what it means to me. You understand what I'm saying when I say that? So what you want to do is you want to take a step back. You have your big pieces of imagination. You want to take a step back and really understand how will they come together and coalesce into making an impactful story, an impactful piece of art or message that's going to really impress itself upon the reader's heart. Okay? So then you think about that. So you think about it in those broad strokes like I told you about. And then remember, the most important part of any story is the beginning. Okay? Why do I say that? Especially in this day and age, you cannot dilly-dally around but trying to hook the reader in. You got to think about it. Okay, maybe 100 years ago, books were the primary thing, the primary form of entertainment. So, an author could languish. They could say, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. The Tale of Two Cities. I don't know if you guys ever read that. Then he goes on for this big thing about the big intro, whatever. It's a big philosophical intro about it was the da-da-da-da, it was the da-da-da-da, the best of time, it was the biggest of cities, it was the smallest of cities, blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of this great historic literature that does that. It has a very slow burn intro. Very slow burn. Meaning you have to read halfway through the book before you're like, okay, this is getting good. Now this stuff means something, right? But back then, books were the primary form of entertainment. Nowadays, you got TV shows, you got movies, and those are even outdated, right? Because now video games are very all-consuming. And hell, even TikTok, that's the hottest thing right now because it has people doom scrolling for 15-second clips, right? They're not even looking for a cohesive narrative. They're just looking for something, that's funny, I'm going to share that. Like fucking morons, right? So when you're making your story, think about what your opening should be. And I'm going to tell you how you know what it should be, okay? You know the opening should be when you think about it, and you think to yourself, no, I better not do that. That could be too far. That could be a little bit too much. That might be a line I'm not comfortable with crossing. That's how you know that's what you got to do, okay? You're telling a story maybe, and you open up, like with Mr. Jiki's story about that dead body. You open up with, the sight of that dead body. You open up with, walking in and discovering a body in full rigor mortis. You describe that scene, and then you say, oh my God, I don't know how this happened. What about his family? What about his friends? Who killed him? Even if it's not a story about murder or whatever, in some regards, the military killed him, right? If he died in the military service. So, you start in a very compelling hook punch. We don't have time to have iambic pentameter of Shakespeare and the prose and all that, right? You gotta fucking put that bikini-clad Selma Hayek shaking her tits out there in the first scene to get everybody like, okay, this is a story worth listening to. I want to see them nipples. Damn, she's hot. Or, you put a gory scene up front, like, holy shit, this is a book right here, because that then justifies. You can slow down after that. You can languish. You can dilly-dally. You can go ahead and become a little bit artistic and lay it on them, because you've already paid for the price of admission with that first scene, and you can tease them with it later. Now you got to deliver. That's of course true, but now you got the opportunity to do so, rather than them reading 5 or 6 pages of that book and then slamming it shut and saying, "Fuck this! I got to go scroll TikTok or play some video games." You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to do. That's what we're competing against. We're competing against other people's desire for time. Everybody only has 24 hours in a day. Okay. Well, if you're playing 8 hours of video games, you know what I mean? If you're trying to squeeze in some fucking stupid ass Netflix show that fucking sucks or whatever, right? So now we got to come out. We got to really get them. I don't know if you guys remember that whole Harry Potter book craze. Well, there for a minute, everybody was all excited about them books, weren't they? They were all excited, and they were reading. Okay, that's what we want to do when we do our story. Okay, so think about that. Keep that in mind. All right, now we're gonna come down here real quick, and we're gonna do a little bit of an exercise. Let me get a swig of my coffee. We're gonna come down here real quick. Come on, people, come on down here. Put me up in the corner. There I am. We're going to get our Let's Go Jared mug going right there. All right. Now, people, take a couple deep breaths. Now, today's day 14, so pretty soon, tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to use these cards. We made about 14 or 15 of these cards. We're going to talk about how to use them, okay? Now, get calm. Take a couple deep breaths, like I told you before, 6 or 7 of them, whatever. Get calm. Calm your heart down and all that stuff. And I want you to think about something, okay? I want you to think about the best pet you ever had, okay? I want you to think about the best pet you ever had. Think about it, think about it, think about it. You got it? You got that locked in your mind? I had a lot of pets, but there is one that stands out as the best pet I ever had. All right? So we're going to go ahead and draw them down real quick, okay? So today's day 14. We're going to draw our best pet we ever had. Best pet I ever had was the English Bulldog. All right, he was quite a character. Okay, and when I first came across him, I didn't really want him. Right, it's a very similar to a story. I forget who told the story about getting a dog that they didn't really want, and the reason why I didn't really want him is because in my apartment I wasn't supposed to have dogs, but my brother lives with me at that time, and he bought the dog, and I was like, oh man, you bought the dog. And he came in, and he bought him when he was a little puppy, and he was an English Bulldog, and he bought him when he was a puppy, and of course I fell in love with him right away. Couldn't get rid of him, right? And so we had him, and I hid him, and whenever the maintenance man or landlords would come by or whatever, and hide him, you know what I mean. And so he was an English Bulldog, and his name was Sheriff. Okay, I didn't even like the name at first. It was my brother's idea to name him Sheriff, and so he named him Sheriff. And I didn't like that at first, but it really fit him after a while. I thought maybe the name Sheriff would be too hard for the dog to memorize or to know that that's what his name was, because it was such a soft consonant name, like Sheriff, So there we go. We got our day 14 Sheriff. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what it was about your pet that really stood out to you. What kind of qualities did that pet have that really stood out to you? Well, loyalty was one. He was very loyal. very protective, and he had a tremendous amount of joy. Okay, he was always very happy to see me. All right, so happy to see me. Okay, then we're going to come back up here to 1. Now I want you to think about that. I want you to write that down. Okay. Now these are the traits, the great traits of a character. Okay. And we're going to talk tomorrow about how to use these cards. All right, but we've been building a little bit of a library of these cards for these past 14 or 15 days. Okay, and these cards are going to be touchstones, and the touchstones of your life. Right? They're all custom to you. They're your life. They're your story. They're what you're going to draw from in order to use that to write with. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and take these ideas and these qualities, and we're going to take them out. We're going to use them when we step through our portal of imagination. Okay, so I want you to get out there. I want you to write some of this down in your book. Use your imagination. Okay, think about the qualities of the pet. Maybe you had more than one pet. I know I did. I had a couple of other pets that I really loved too. Write them down. Go through the same exercise. Okay, think about it. Maybe you had a terrible pet that you hated. Well, draw that pet too, and write those qualities down as well. Okay, the more of these you get, the better. You're mapping out your memories, and they're going to be primed and ready to use as the gold for your story. Because that's what we're doing. We're spinning straw into gold. So get after it. Let's kick some ass. Let's go. All right, guys, we got Hillbilly Harry back with us one more time. We're going to finish that story up. But we were just chatting. Jared just had a match, and so Hillbilly Harry, how'd it go? Talk to me, buddy.
Yeah, well, he lost in the first round.
Yeah, I saw that.
To a Brazilian.
Them Brazilians are good, man.
Yeah, they're good. And they, I kind of like their judo, but they have a lot of attitude. You know what I mean? That always that's always working.
Bro, I think that comes with being Brazilian. I don't know. I train with some Gracies, and at the down there in Encinitas and that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, they all had attitudes, bro. All of the Brazilians had attitudes. I ain't never met a Brazilian who didn't have an attitude.
Yeah. So that's always that always makes it kind of
tough,
aggravating.
Yeah, that's difficult.
So, and the guy, and I think a lot of it too has to, the boy just couldn't get the guy to open up, had zero openings to actually get in there and kind of do his thing, and I think a lot of it too has to do with, he's still, he's so young, he's still just 22, just getting into that real man strength, and when he goes against, especially at this level, right? Like, the World Judo Tour is it, right? Like, that's as pro as you're going to be.
That's right.
Without that, you'll never get to a world championship or Olympics. That's the highest level you're going to be. Now, so like when he's going up against 27-year-old men, that have that full man strength, that have been going that hard, been training a certain way for so long.
Yeah.
That I think it takes a while for the younger guys. I noticed it with a lot of because the USA team is really young.
Yeah.
I think as far as the men go, I mean, like, I think 25 is kind of is one of the old guys on the team.
Yeah. Well, and
so
I think I was talking to you about that as well. the thing is that they all know the tricks, right? All the other guys, they're seasoned. It is about man strength, but also they know all these little tricks and stuff like that. That sometimes you only encounter maybe once or twice at a really high level, and but you got to be ready for it, and that's a very steep learning curve.
Yeah, oh, most definitely, most definitely. When the boy was younger, we used to always, because we were always, because of how active we were when he was younger, so like if somebody was going to be throwing a clinic, and our sensei when Jared was younger, our sensei was really good friends with another dojo that Jared went to after COVID. And they would always throw these clinics where they would bring in, world champions and, Olympic gold medalists to give these, from all over the world,
Hmm.
and to bring these guys in. And there was this guy. He had this guy, Iliadis was his name, and he was from Greece. And he was, at the time when he did this clinic, he was the current world champion,
Wow.
and he talked about all of those little type things,
Yeah.
that you do, even stuff like you're not allowed to grab inside the sleeve, right? He
Yeah.
would talk about how I'm going to grab inside the sleeve when I know that
Yes.
side is away from the referee. That when I know the ref can't see it, I am gonna do that because I can control you better with that.
And
And
that's
and
what I'm.
and
Go on.
yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that's what I'm talking about. It's like these things that are outside of the rule set that really separate you from the podium when you're at that very, very high level. These little tiny things that may be a gray area, maybe bending the rules, and then that's what they do very effectively. So if you're not familiar with that and have come up against it the very first time, that's difficult.
Oh yeah, yes, most definitely, most definitely. And like I'm saying, like and like you were just saying, they've been at this highest level for 5, 6 years,
Mhm.
and these young guys are just coming up and trying to figure it out, and to be honest, like what I think is good too is they also have the Pan American tour,
Yeah.
which is that's what Jared will be competing in tomorrow, and it's definitely high level. There's no doubt about that. But I would say it's just slightly below the world tour stuff,
Hmm.
because they're still.
So tell people briefly, like Jared's competing in 3 tournaments, like this week, and he's going to end up in Guadalajara. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Like so. Today they had Grand Prix, the World Judo Tour Grand Prix in Lima, and tomorrow it's just a 1 day event. They can fit everybody in one day, and it's considered it's a Pan Am. I guess it'd be like one step kind of lower than the world tour,
Okay.
but you're still going to be going up against the top people in the world.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that'll be tomorrow, and then this coming Sunday he'll be in Guadalajara for another World Judo Tour Grand Prix in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
So at the end of the year he's getting all these high level tournaments in a week. I mean,
Yeah.
it,
That's
it's a
that's
it's a
like
heavy schedule.
yeah, that'll have your head swimming. Now, how's he doing with his food? What does he eat to keep his weight? Because I know he's probably putting out a ton of energy every day on that mat. Does he have is his diet pretty regulated, or how's that going?
No, I mean, like they try to, a lot of beef and rice.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what he's eaten his entire life.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, just I mean, he tries not to eat crap, because he has to most of his time, and the food that he's eating, and even I'll just say all of the people at the training center that are doing this stuff, they work out so much, and they have, the they can't eat a bunch of crap because you're going to end up, it hurts your recovery for just
Right.
even training, just for your next training tomorrow.
Right.
You know, they'll have they'll have like two to three training sessions a day, but also in between time you're expected to, go out and run your 5 miles
Right.
and do all this other stuff other than just your three daily workouts.
Right. I
So they
didn't
don't.
know if they had maybe food prepared for them, or they had a cafeteria or something like that. Do they have to find the food on their own?
Oh yeah. They have, they deal with, like I'm saying, at the training center, they have, from trainers to nutritionalists to, sports psychiatry type people to help you keep your mindset.
Yeah.
Uh, but they kind of give you a what you should eat. These are the things that, because everybody's different. Some people are trying to maintain a weight. Jared's trying to bulk up to get stronger, put on more muscle, and cut down, for 4 or 5 kilos before he has. To go weigh in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but they have to go out and get all that stuff themselves. They
Okay, so then he has to pretty much either prepare or go find like somewhere to get his food, is what you're saying.
Yeah, they all live together, so they all cook for each other and stuff like
Okay.
there's he lives in an apartment with 2 other guys. So there's 3 guys living in an apartment, and
Yeah.
you know they all take turns cooking for each other and stuff like that.
Okay, that's awesome.
Everybody, go ahead.
Yeah, everybody takes their turn and all that kind of stuff, and I bet they got that rice cooker going all the time because I definitely rice and chicken.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's gonna go. He's in Lima, Peru. Is the Pan Am also in Peru, or where is that at?
Yes, the Pan Am's also in Peru. They've had a lot of competition in Peru the past couple of weeks. The Junior Worlds was right before this competition. Then they have this Grand Prix, and then tomorrow they're having the Pan Am. So I don't know what Peru's doing to get all
Yeah,
this stuff to happen in their country, but they worked it out pretty well. It brings in a lot. It, a lot of this stuff helps, like in these countries, it helps their judo programs grow.
right, yeah. Now, it for people the matches rotate yearly, or isn't that correct?
The what?
Like for example, the Grand Prix next year might be at a different location. It probably
Oh
won't.
yeah, they're
Okay.
yeah. Well, they're held all over the world. From Tbilisi in Georgia, um, like I'm saying, Spain. Uh, I think there's one of the first ones next year is in They're talking about one in Australia, and I don't know if that's. And to be honest, like since he's gone out to the training center, he's been to like 9 different countries on 5 different continents.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, does he get a chance to like a free day to go out and maybe see the sights or taste the food or anything like that, or is it all work?
Sometime, rarely do they get that time off. USA Judo doesn't pay for. They aren't paying for vacation time. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I don't. Maybe if they had the funding, they would. But I don't. I just don't think USA Judo has funding to give you that extra day. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so so sometimes they have time to go around, and check stuff out. Uh, when he first got up there, he went to God, man, I can't remember. I want to say it wasn't Quebec. It was somewhere up in Canada, somewhere up in French Canada that he uh he went up to, and he actually had time to cruise around and check it out, and he really liked that. He did great at that tournament. He got a bronze medal at that tournament, and this was like in 2023. He started doing this, and what's cool in these high level tournaments, when you medal, you get prize money.
Oh, cool.
So you can once you get on that, if you're on the podium, you win prize money. He won that bronze medal, and he took his first prize money and went and bought a Glock because he thought, why not?
The hell yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know they also
Yeah,
had prize money. That's fantastic. I wasn't aware of
yeah,
that.
oh yeah.
Now, you were telling the story about his journey the last time, and we got interrupted by my internet outage that lasted all day. But I think we left off right where he was coming into the stadium, and everybody was booing him, and I was like, "How fantastic is that?"
Right,
So could you
right.
pick up there, and we'll go a little tell the rest of the story so people kind of understand the background a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. That was the junior world championships. And yeah, and he had to go out, and when he got booed on his way out, and he ended up losing the match to he ended up finding a guy from Spain, lost that match, and of course the arena went nuts for the guy from Spain. But Jared, because it was all brand new. I think that was the second
Yeah,
time Jared had left the country. No, yeah, I think it was maybe the second time Jared had left the country to compete. And so he was just kind of stoked to even be able
for
to get to
sure.
that point.
Yeah,
And like I'm saying, at that point he was still living here. He was still in California. He hadn't gone out to the training center yet.
okay.
So it was a big deal, and it cost a lot. And like I was saying, the the whole training center thing was to keep going, to go to the next level of his judo.
Yeah, it
And
takes a full life commitment to make that happen, and so you have to do that because you're competing against other people who are doing that.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. If you want to go further than your country, you're gonna have to start traveling and competing around the world. And one of the things I think I left out of all of the in our last conversation was that it wasn't Jared had a complete uh, support system. It was far from just me, right?
Sure.
His his grandparents, my dad just quit. He's like, I'm not gonna fly. So he'd drive across the country. If we're going in Texas or Indiana or whatever, Grandpa would be driving there. In fact, a couple of times, Jared would hop in the car instead of flying with me because it's summertime for Jared for one of our big nationals when he was younger,
Hmm.
and they would drive across the country. So Jared got to see the country just driving through it, going to the tournaments and stuff too. My mom would go to my mom lives in Georgia. She doesn't even live out here in California, and she would fly to the big national tournaments just to watch Jared do his thing. The senseis and all of our black belt association when he was younger, Nanka, all the members of Nanka that we knew, were always pushing him to be, if you referee when you're younger, it'll help your judo. So you should do this. I never did that stuff for Jared, but he had the people that were actually in the know to
Right.
help him do that. So
Wow, that's
it
fantastic.
takes that. It
That's
takes that to
fantastic.
get there. It's far from just me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really good to see that too, and really heartwarming to hear that you're saying this, and that it helps us to get a fuller picture of the support community. And when we support Jared, we're supporting all these people too, and we're kind of joining with them in support of Jared, and it feels good to be a part of that. It feels good to whatever everybody watching could contribute as far as their support, whether it's just like good words or a little video, a little hey, you can do it, or cheering you on and all that kind of stuff. All the way down to like you said, the sensei who pulled the strings to help him get his black belt expedited. It's a big deal, and it feels good to even to hear the stories about Jared going to another country. It's like, yeah, that's our guy. He's out there competing. Win, lose or draw, he's out there. He's putting it all on the line, and he's representing the best of who we are, and that's what we want to. We want to center our lives around that. It's very exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate all the kind words I get from everybody. It's pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you know, and,
what he's doing is amazing.
yeah, and to be honest, like his time off that he had before he went back to get to this level, that time is crucial, right?
Hmm.
Most kids that are coming up that actually get to this level didn't take those years off. Like that's the young, that young cadet. They're called considered cadets and juniors, and then they get to the senior level.
Right.
He pretty much skipped cadets and juniors. Like he came into juniors at the end of being able to be a junior. Like I think he
Right.
was a junior for less than a year at the high at trying to compete at a high level. So he was coming in without all of that stuff that everybody else the years before that.
Hmm.
So so that's why I think like let alone that it's just amazing to get here in general. To then skip all that stuff and still get here and still trying to hold your own with these people is just a fantastic thing.
Yeah, it's a tremendous accomplishment, and to skip that, he's drinking from a fire hose right now, trying
Oh, yeah,
to
you.
just download all this information so he could compete with these guys. Whereas, maybe they, like you said, they had like the junior and the cadet, so they could spread out the learning process. So right now, he's really on that exponential curve trying to absorb all this stuff. And, that's why he does need our support. So he could, give the affirmation, bro, you're doing it. Hang in there. You're doing a good job. I know sometimes it probably is overwhelming. It's probably very difficult to go onto a international stage and be defeated, and I give him props for doing that and for not letting it be a big blow on his ego. And hopefully he can continue to grow quickly and continue to strengthen himself so that he'll be in a position to where he can take advantage of that. I agree that he definitely missed out on some of those things, but he's also going to have a unique point of view, which I hope that can come in handy for him as he goes forward.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and uh, just like you're saying, like just even like missing that stuff, and like I just try to keep his head in the game, right?
Yeah.
Keep him focused on what you want to do. He hasn't had he hasn't he hasn't had a couple of good outings the last couple of tournaments,
Hmm.
and and to him, the thing that's hardest for me to kind of keep his head up, right, is not only it's something he loves, yeah, but now at this point, right, he sees it also as this is his job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're spending money to send me to these places to do
Right.
my job. And if
Right.
I can't do my job properly, you
Yeah.
know,
They're going to want to
whether they
replace me. Yeah.
right, well,
Yeah.
that, and whether that, or just he needs to feel like he's doing his job, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's
Like
good
even
at it.
right, that, but I'm like, with any job, the boy will feel that I have to do my job well,
Right.
as you should, right? No matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're working at freaking McDonald's,
Hmm.
you still want to do the job well, you know.
Yeah.
So it's that, especially at this level, it's that trying to, with him having that mindset, it's sometimes I think it is a little hard to keep him up, hey man, it's all right, it happens, we just got to go out there and keep plugging away,
100%.
and
Yeah.
and he's good at regrouping and resetting and moving on, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's just years of competition too that helps with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good support team. And this is like, you know, anybody who's been in a competitive environment knows that you have to be very selective when you are let that critical eye out of the hole to talk to you, and you have to keep it at bay at certain times when you have to buoy yourself emotionally so that you can regroup and go on to the next competition. And I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad he's got you guys in his system. Obviously, I mean, like, it sounds kind of retarded me saying I'm glad he's got you guys. I just showed up like maybe 6 months ago, but I can recognize how important that is.
Yeah, no, hey man, I don't care how recently people have shown up. It's awesome to get the support, and I share it with Jared all the time, and he loves it. He appreciates it as well.
Yeah,
And and it's I think a lot of it. I think it's good too. Most of the people he trains with, they're all friends. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like little different cliques at the training center or nothing like that. Everybody hangs out. You know, they all hang out. They all make it, and not even just his buddies in his apartment, but like because they all live in the same complex, right?
sure.
So they all get together and hang out and do their thing. They'll be like 9 guys strong, just having dinners, playing video games, shooting,
Yeah.
just having their good time. I think that helps kind of take away the stress of what they're all actually trying to do. You know what I mean?
I can imagine. And I'm just laughing because I'm imagining these like 9 or 10 guys that are these like judo powerhouses that are just like walking through the mall or something and nobody knows. Oh, don't mess with those guys. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it is funny watching them all. He'll send me videos of whatever they're all doing, right? And
Yeah.
they're all just a bunch. They're all young dudes. They're all clowning around. They're all having a
Yeah.
great time, you know. And it's funny. It's like I watch these videos and it's like, wow, you know, you'd never think these guys are, you know, just gnarly and not to be messed with, you know. And, and it's funny, like one of his buddies is the junior world champion, and they all and him and his two brothers, they're all really good. And like you see them, just like when you see normal people, they just, you know, they're just normal dudes. You know, they have you would never know. You know, it's and
Yeah,
I
but
like that too about. Go ahead.
I'll say a bunch of killers running around. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But they're all just the chillest guys. In fact, one of them, there was a video. He sent me a video. They were all at this. It looked like a bar, but I think it's more like I've never been to North Carolina, but the way he was describing it was like a store that has like this little bar section in it, and they had like this open mic night, and they
Uh-huh.
went there, and they're all his buddies are these Korean kids, you know, and Jared, and there's like six of them that went to this thing, you know, just to go check it out, you know, and his buddy goes, I could do that, and so they're like, oh, hey man, I'll throw in a couple of bucks if you do it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so they all go up there, so they all throw in some money, right? And his buddy's like, oh, all right, I'm gonna do it. And this place is packed, you know. All the brothers, you know, all the the judoka team, right? So he goes up there and they throw down his beat, and this kid just started spitting lyrics out of the blue, making the whole place just go nuts, right? And it was hilarious because nobody was expecting it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's stuff like that. Like it's all a big, they're all in the middle of doing something really serious, but they all have time to, smell the roses and have a good time with each other too.
It sounds like a fantastic story. It sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, it helps. It helps with that. They're all. I really do think it helps that they're all friends. It kind of keeps it from. It keeps you from being isolated in your,
Yes.
in your
Yeah.
training and in your work.
Yeah, which is very, that's very dangerous because you could get very socially isolated, and it makes it very
Yeah.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that and like you were saying earlier, you get that's when you get into the wrong mindset, you get in the wrong place in your head, and
Yeah,
then
because
just nothing goes right.
yeah, people neglect to understand that you have to maintain that emotional component in order to go forward. You really perform best when you're excited, happy, joyful, and then you can go out there and take advantage of that.
Yes, for sure, for sure. I always I always hated using quotes from stupid movies, but it was that movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves, right? Where
Uh-huh.
they're all football, they're the football scrubs that come in.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in and they're doing the coaches meeting, and he talks about quicksand. His fear is quicksand, and how one thing goes wrong, and so you keep trying, and another thing goes wrong, and another thing goes wrong, and pretty soon you're in over your head like quicksand, right? And especially at a high level. I mean, it's a ridiculous movie, but at a high level of sports, that is real,
Yeah.
and it's just, and I think that is a really hard place not to go.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it really is. I completely agree. Really with the concept of anxiety, creating that anxiety feedback loop becomes that quicksand, and it's very dangerous, very hard to deal with.
Yeah, they have the sports psychologists and stuff they have at the training center try to work with that, and keep you from getting in your own head, right? Keep you from getting in your way.
Sure. Well, I'm glad they got that. Now, what's next? So Jared's got he had that big tournament, Lima, Peru today. He's got the one tomorrow, and then the one in Guadalajara. And then what do you know what the rest of his schedule looks like? Like, is there a couple of big tournaments for the rest of the year, or what's that
No,
look like?
yeah, no, that's this will be it for the year.
Okay.
After this is the end of the year. After this, I get to see him in December, right? I
Okay.
get to
Great.
he gets to come home for little less than a month, but he gets to come home for a while, you know, recharge his batteries, you know. But yeah, it's this is I think that's why they're doing these three so close to each other at the end of the year, because it is the last ones of the year.
Okay. And then next year, what does that look like? Are there big tournaments in the first quarter of the year? How's that looking?
I have no idea actually.
Okay,
I
so,
talked to him.
does
I
they move around the schedule, or how does that work?
Yeah, yeah, it's never the same.
Oh,
It's
okay.
never like I mean they're always in the same places, but they're never the same time of year. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And 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 I think countries like I don't know how they vie for the tournaments.
okay.
You know, I don't know how each of these countries go about uh, getting the tournament in their countries. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
don't know if they're. I think it has something because of the International Judo Federation is the one who throws these tournaments. I
Okay.
think the countries that have that host the tournaments, their Olympic committees and stuff like that get together with the IJF and they try to figure out. You know, I don't know if they pay to have them. I would assume they paid to have them come. So I don't know how all that stuff works, you
Yeah.
know. And when I was talking to the boy about going to a tournament or two next year, and he said he was telling me that they don't even have the schedule out yet, so
Oh, yeah. Okay.
he doesn't even know what he'll be doing next year yet. I mean, other
Yeah.
than same thing because he just got renewed to maintain his spot at the training center.
That's big. So I'm stoked about that. Now I
Yeah.
know
Well,
that.
and you know,
Go on.
go ahead.
I was gonna move on to a different topic, but what if you want to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and you know, like I would just think it'd be hard for them to get rid of somebody who's ranked in the top 100. You know,
Duh. And he's so young. I mean, come on, people. You got to invest in
yeah,
this guy,
most
potential future
definitely.
world champion. Come on,
Yeah,
wake
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I was
And I think that's what USA Judo is actually doing, right? They are
good.
investing in these young judoka, and you know, they want to. They don't just want to prep for the Olympics in 28, right? They want to
Yeah.
prep for 32. They want to be, you know, a country that's known on the world stage in judo.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is that we know that, the next big thing is the 2028 Olympics, and everybody's getting ready for that. And on the horizon, that's what we're kind of all aligning towards. And then, like you said, 2032 after that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's yeah, and getting on the Olympics most of the time, like if you watch other sports, they all have an Olympic trials, right? Where
Okay.
you
Yeah.
go there and you compete, and when you get within a certain number, you know, you're certain, you know, you finish at whatever. Like if you're in track and field, if you're in the top whatever, you get to go to the Olympics. You made the team.
Right.
Judo isn't like that at all. They used to do that, but now it all has to do with your international ranking. It's
Okay.
like some countries, if you're not ranked high enough, some countries won't even be able to put people in every weight class. You
Wow.
know,
Do you know why they do that, or why do they change to that?
I, I do not know why they changed it. I think they changed it. To be honestly, the only thing I can think of is for safety reasons because they don't want people, you know, some countries just putting in somebody who isn't at a certain caliber. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I think they do it just to maintain a high level of judo at the
Okay.
Olympic level. But to tell you for sure, I really couldn't.
Yeah.
I really haven't looked.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, you go out there and you don't know what you're doing. I tell you what, you're going to be hanging from the rafters. You're
Oh
going to be
yeah,
throwing up there.
right.
So,
Yeah, and if you try to pull out of a throw or something
uh,
like that, you're gonna stick your arm out the wrong way, and you're just getting, you know, you're just gonna get hurt. You know.
broken. Yeah, broken arms,
Yeah,
broken
big broken.
shoulders. Yeah. Come home and it look like a crumpled up piece of paper. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Well, we just there was just a guy who I think it was just at our nationals this year that, and he wasn't obviously he was a high level, but he got tossed and ended up on his head and in a neck brace and all, you know, in the hospital for like a month because of that type of stuff. You know, I mean, so it's definitely dangerous even when you know what you're doing.
Sure. Oh, yeah, no doubt, especially on the high level. And like we said earlier, they start to play in these gray zone areas where they know how to cheat or how to do this or how to do that, and that could catch you by surprise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's that. And I watched one of our guys today. I was watching the match, and he got thrown. It went onto the ground, and he was still fighting, to keep from getting pinned, and out of nowhere was getting choked out. It looked like he was good. Looked like he was safe for a little bit. And the
Yeah.
next thing I could see was just him tapping his opponent as quick as he could.
Yeah.
He was just getting choked out, and it's like the amount of things you have to be aware of, while you're on the ground, because there's so many, especially when when you're when you're on the ground, there are so many different ways you can lose.
Yeah.
Like 'cause they can pin you, they can, it could go from a pin to a arm bar to a choke. When you're on your feet, there's one way to win, and that's me throw you to your back. I
So
get you to the ground.
so for people that don't know, you start out on your feet, and if they throw you onto the ground, then what happens? And then how do you get? Why do they try to choke you or pin you? Because a lot of people think that once you get thrown to the ground, it's over with.
Okay, well, okay, so if yes, it does start on your feet, and if you get thrown flat to your back, it's over. They consider that an ippon, and it's over because you got thrown flat with control. It's over. Now, if you just get thrown and you're like on your side, they consider that a wazari, and you can still go. It's like they consider like a. It all sounds weird to
You're still
explain. Like,
alive. You can still come back from it.
yes, like so an ippon is like they consider that like the full point you won.
Okay.
A wazari is like it's a half point. If you get 2 wazaris, you win.
Okay.
But then they also brought back, they also call it just a single point, where it's just like a one you get. So if you get a wazari, it's like they consider it a 10. And you can get these yukos, like if you get thrown just to like your butt, right? You get going back, but you're sitting up, but you got thrown. They'll give you a little point, which will still, if you can last with just that one little point, you still win the match.
Okay.
It doesn't really, you can win with those little points, but if you don't get that full ippon, if you just get the wazari or even just a little single yuko, you're now on the ground, and that's when they're going to start trying to choke you out or trying to pin you, or get the arm bars. Then the groundwork starts to happen.
Oh, okay.
Right? If you don't get that nice full throw flat to the back, now the groundwork happens. And now is when you got to start working and keep choked.
And they're trying to like close out the point, so to speak, right? They're trying to get the full point by making you tap or choke you out or whatever.
Exactly. That's the main goal. They want to get that full point, get you have it be over. And we used to go to we went to a couple of when we were going to the clinics. They were one of the world champions was saying that he liked going to the ground. He liked just, even if he didn't get you a full big throw, he liked being on the ground because there were more ways to win on the ground than on my feet. Right?
That
He
makes
just preferred that.
that makes sense.
But if you don't know how to get him to the ground, you're screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that is what judo is, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah. You gotta at least get him to the ground.
Well, we're all very excited about Jared. We're all very excited to support him. We're excited about you. I was so stoked when I met you through the ROTC guys and the ROTC network, and I'm like, in here you're saying, yeah, I got my son, he's out there competing in judo. I was like, oh, I love judo. I used to do it when I was a kid. That's awesome. I did jujitsu, and we chatted about it. And then you're like,
Yeah.
no, actually, he's in the world at the USA judo team. I was like, wait, what? I gotta talk to this guy. And so I'm just stoked that we're able to connect like this and talk about it and kind of share that love for competition, which is so needed nowadays, especially for men. And we all want to support Jared. Win, lose, or draw, he's a champion. Just to even make it at this level, I don't think a lot of people realize that how difficult and how small of a percentile of people actually make it to where Jared has made it, and to be selected to compete on the USA team and to go and participate in the training center is a tremendous thing, and it's well worth our support. And I hope that we're able to garner more and more support, and we could show our support to them in the future in other ways and stuff like that. That would be fantastic. And thank you. I wanted to say thank you for letting us be a part of it. Thank you for posting the links to where we can go and view it, because I would never know, bro. I don't know. I got 300,000 other things going, so I'm stoked about that. So I wanted to say to you, Hillbilly Harry, thanks for sharing this little part of your world with us, and I'm very appreciative to it.
And no problem. I actually appreciate everything you've been doing, and everybody else who shows their support. Because it really is it really is kind of amazing. It's so not a lot of people get to make it to this level. That there's lots of people in judo, but very few people make it to this level. When we go to clinics and stuff like that, they would always promote, the people who are going to be at the clinic, and it was always, USA team members and stuff like that. And never once did I ever think that the boy would ever be at that level. Not because he didn't have the skills, just because life happens.
Sure, yeah.
And other things come along, and that he stuck it out, and that he just keeps, his drive to keep going is just amazing. And I really do. I can't tell you how much I appreciate everything that you and everybody else has been the support that everybody shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're happy to be a part of it, and you know, to change the society, we got to change the men, and we have to have men like Jared. And that's the main reason why I want to focus on supporting him, and also the other guys in the judo team, but primarily Jared, because he's part of our community. I feel like he's one of our guys. Hillbilly Harry's part. You're our guy, man. So we want to support our guys. So thanks for that. And I want to have you back. We want to chit chat about it more in the future. I don't want to take all your time. We're coming up on almost an hour right now, which is fantastic. Thank you for that. So anything you want to say before we close out?
No, I just want to say thanks a lot, and this has been fun. And at any time, I can. Hey, look at one of the things I enjoy most is talking about Jared.
Yeah.
So anytime, and this has really been a ball.
Yeah.
I think more people would support judo if they knew about it.
Hmm.
I don't think people know much about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like of course I knew there was a national team, but I had no idea. You know what I mean? And I forgot all about judo, and I did it when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a BJJ dojo on every corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so people are into that. And it's hard. And I think judo is a lot harder on you than other things. Because when we first started, it was the kids, especially when they're younger, they get frustrated and they cry. And the Jared did it. And then because when we started, there weren't a lot of other kids at the dojo. In fact, Jared was the only student most of the time. And eventually we acquire more and more kids. And the first thing I would tell the parents, once you see your kid getting flung to the ground by another kid, like, hey, well, I don't know if I like this, especially when your kid starts, crying. And he's not crying because he got thrown to the ground. He's crying
Right.
because he's getting frustrated because and I would always try to tell the parents, hey, they all cry the first week.
Mhm.
Jared did it. Everybody else has done it. But it's hard for people to stick with it. And then when you get to high school, now you have other sport, school sports, girls, and everything else, to
Yeah.
get in the way of continuing. So I just wish people more. I'm glad that more people are finding out about it and can support it, be it Jared or just USA Judo in general.
Yeah, I hope it has a resurgence, because it's definitely not a glamour sport, but like say football or basketball or baseball.
Right.
But
Not by any means.
it's like what we talked about in the our other chat that we had. Investment in a single player sport is really an investment in that player, whereas the other part of the team doesn't let him down or even carry him, so to speak. But it's really based upon
Exactly.
that child, and there's something magical that happens when they realize, oh, I'm going to be as successful as how much work I put in. Well, I can put in a ton of work, so let's go.
Yes, yes, yeah, 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 and I think exactly, and it's hard. Once again, I think it's hard for parents to push through all of that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because so, to be honest, like it's not easy. Hell, even now, right? Once I like at 8 o'clock this morning, right? Tournament starts at 8:30. At 8 o'clock, I have to tell myself in my head, it's okay. You're not gonna throw up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get so nervous. I still get nervous. We've been doing this. I've been doing this for with him since he was 5 years old, and I I get more nervous now than I ever did.
Yeah. But isn't it great though?
It is. It is. It's so I get so jazzed, and like you're saying, win or lose, I am always just so proud of what he has done for himself, and what
Yeah.
he's trying to do for himself. It really is amazing.
Well, even conceptually, the willingness to put yourself up to be measured time after time after time. How many people really do that? That's tremendous.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because really, because honestly, like who wants to have that constantly? You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
you know,
Right.
and to be able to withstand that, the mental fortitude to be able to take that and keep pressing on, is something that like you're saying, we're falling short of nowadays.
Yes. That's the heart of a champion.
Yeah, and like, and one of the things, I was never trying to raise a good boy, right? I was
Hmm.
always trying to raise a good young man,
Hmm.
because you're only going to be a kid for so long.
Yeah.
Most of your life is spent as an adult. So I'm not trying to make you. I was never trying to make you. Of course, I want my kid to mind and listen and do all those other things that you want children to do. But the lessons I think we should teach our kids is for when they're adults. You,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, because like they don't. Kids don't know shit. They're kids. You know,
Understatement. Yeah. You know.
and
Um,
it's well, it's just like it's our job, to make them prepared for later, you know, because if I'm always there, right, when you're an adult or when you're the parent and they're younger, you're always there,
yeah.
so they don't really have to, like be independent or take care of themselves,
Right.
right? And then I think a lot of parents just think, oh, they become 18 and now they know how to do that shit. Well,
Yeah.
if you didn't do that stuff before, if you didn't
Yeah.
teach them how to do that stuff from the time they come out,
Yeah.
they have no idea what to do later on in life. And
Yeah.
I just think people forget that. They try to raise good kids when they should be trying to raise good adults, in my opinion.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I mentioned this to you before, but I think you have the right in your hands a tremendous book, and I think a lot of parents would want to read this book. The point of view of your journey from a father raising his son to even to make it at this level right now is a tremendous success and book worthy. And so just think about it. I would read it. So I'm just saying I'm not a father yet, but I hope to be one day, and I would read it.
I have been thinking about it since we talked about it. I have been thinking about it. I luckily I have a buddy who knows a few publishers, so I've kind of mentioned it to him, and he said he would totally help me out with getting a hold of them. But yeah, I still need to you know actually, to be honest, I'd probably get with him to help me write it.
Sure.
He's
Yeah.
he's the writer.
Yeah.
So I but yes, that when you mentioned that, I thought, huh, maybe I could.
Yeah, and I know that the parent market is huge, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh my God, I want to know this," and so that's a really I think a tremendous market, and you got a tremendous story.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the proof's in the pudding. Look where your son's at. I mean, hello, you know.
Right? I guess I try to. It's I've never been good at taking compliments. You know what I mean? So it's always
Sure.
hard. It's hard. Like I've always thought it was weird, like when the boy does something good and I get congratulated. You know what I mean? That always seemed weird to me. It's like, but he did it. You
Yeah.
know. But I get where people are coming from when they do that.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate it. it shows their appreciation for the boy and what he is doing, you know.
Right.
And so like I'm saying, it is amazing, and it makes me proud to have a son that brings that out of people, you know.
Yeah. And that's a tremendous statement right there in itself, you know, when you think about it. Wow.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
we're
you
gonna
know.
go
Okay,
on.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, I'm sorry. I
Oh,
was
no,
gonna.
I was just gonna say, you know, well, when he, growing up, every time he'd leave the house, you know, I'd always just tell him, "Hey, don't embarrass me." You know, as in like when you're out and I'm not with you, don't be that guy that makes the other adults look at you and be like, "Oh, who's that kid's parents? They did a
Yeah.
horrible job." You know what I mean?
Well,
Make me proud when you leave the house. You know?
and that's a very masculine concept, when you think about it. And that's not even communicated to kids nowadays, right? They're going out there and they're told, be your authentic self no matter what anybody thinks. And no, you got to go out there and don't embarrass me. You represent the family.
Yes, yes, of course. You know, and every time, and because when I see young people acting up, that's the first thing I think of.
Hmm.
It's like, why didn't your parents tell you no? You know,
Right.
and I'm not saying, hey, I'm not going to try and pretend when the boy left the house he was a perfect angel, right? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I understand he's was a teenager, and now he's even 22. You're still a young dude living life. You know,
Sure.
I just don't want you to be that asshole. You know.
Right. Well, everybody gets leniency to make mistakes. It's that you have to have the understanding that you represent something bigger. You represent your family, you represent USA Judo, you represent all of these things. And it's good fortune and hard work that put you in that position. So don't mess it up.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You know, that is one of the things I tell him all the time. Is like, he'll talk about certain things, and I'm like, oh, well, that's cool, but even if I think it might be, if they might have a problem with it, if USA Judo might look at it kind of funny, I just point out, hey, man, you've worked hard to get here.
Right. Right.
Don't
Right.
mess around. Don't mess
Right.
around for a little bit of fun and screw up all of the hard work you've put in. You
Yeah,
know.
the risk reward isn't there. You worked your whole
Yeah.
life to get here to do what? To whatever? No, it's not worth it. Just go ahead and,
Exactly.
put it on the side, all that, whatever. Completely agree with you. I completely agree with that sentiment, and that's something that in the book would be, would stand out. That yeah, I just keep going back to that. I don't know. I'm just excited about it. That's all. You're feeling my passion. I'm not
Yeah,
pushing.
I am feeling the passion.
I'm not pushing it anywhere like that. I'm just like I'm really resonating with what you're saying because you want a family you can be proud of. And that says a lot.
That, and I think it shows that you did do right. You
Hmm.
did do something good raising your child. You know what I mean?
I
Because
agree.
I mean, like, not that it's easy, but the boy was never I never had trouble with him.
Hmm.
He always listened. He was always inquisitive, even as a baby before he even really talked much. He never cried or nothing. He was always paying attention to whatever was around him. You know what I mean? But it's not hard. You just have to pay attention and do right by them. You know, instead of
Well,
just
that I think
rearranging
that's
your food.
I think that's why everybody congratulates you when your son does well. Is because you cultivated that relationship initially, and
Yeah,
that's and gave him a platform to go ahead and become himself. And I think everybody appreciates that.
yeah, yeah. Well, the, the last thing I ever wanted to do was live vicariously through my child, and their sports and or accomplishments in general, whatever it may be.
Sure. Well,
That's why I just
I don't feel like that's what you're doing at all. I think you're just a proud father. I don't get
yeah,
that
yeah,
vibe at
no, no,
all.
no, no. I've worked. I haven't really worked hard on not doing that, but it's easy to get in. That I'm gonna plan it out, and here's where you go, and
Sure,
here's what
sure.
you do, and when we get there, we did it. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, no, I pretty much you've done this, boy. You've done this yourself, and you were the one that's pushed hard and do this stuff good for yourself. And luckily, I just kind of could help facilitate it and give you the support and room to go do it.
And that's commendable. That's what a father should be.
yeah, it's not like I'm saying. I don't really think it's very hard. I just think people don't really understand.
Well, apparently it is hard because we got a whole bunch of motherfuckers out here not doing that.
I know for sure, for sure.
Just saying.
I think people, yeah, like even when they have kids, they're still just caught up in themselves, right? They're still caught up in themselves, you know. But I worked with the same guy for 20 some odd years, and we're still good, great friends. And we always talk about how, like, you know, like he'll see people on, you see people on Facebook, you know, and they'll, on one post they'll be talking about their kids, and the next post they're talking about how they were out partying last weekend
Yeah.
and all this stuff. You know, and it's like, okay, I get it, but like, and I went out, I still had a good time, you know,
Yeah,
while we
but
were
you
raising
don't
the boy.
post about it.
No, and to be honest, I took the boy with me to those things. Like if we're going to a party at a friend's house, you know, not that everybody else was bringing their kids. I was, you know, if the boy was once the boy got to, you know, 8, 9, 10 and could listen, he was just coming along with me.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
just and us, we just took him where we were going. You know, it wasn't like we left him at home for grandma and grandpa to watch, or taking over to grandma and grandpa's, you know, for here you watch him while we go rage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was that was just something that never was going to happen. You know, I didn't want,
Yeah.
to be honest, I didn't want to do that. You know,
Well, it's a lot like what you were talking about with Jared about, you did all this work to become a parent. You don't want to throw it away to go have a party. Like that don't make no sense,
right,
right?
right, yeah, you know, it was that to the day he was born. I was because Jared's mom was in. It was like a 3 day labor. It was brutal.
Uh-huh.
And when he was
Well, he
finally
was
born,
wrestling. He was wrestling even then.
yeah, exactly, exactly. He didn't want to come out. And but so like the day he was born, and we'd been up for, you know, I'd been up for 2.5 days by then, you know, and you know they put her off in the room, and he goes off into the nursery, and you know all the doctors and nurses were telling me, hey, you know, you should go home and get some rest. And my dad didn't live far from the hospital, so I come back to my dad's house, and I'm laying there, and for about 15 minutes, I was laying there thinking, I have a family now. What am I doing here by myself?
There you
You
go.
know, I
Yeah.
got back up, hopped in the car, and drove back to the hospital. You know, and just in
Hmm.
time to watch get fed for the first time and things like that. You know, it's like, and ever since then, that was a moment for me, right? That was a moment where I realized, oh, I don't get to just think about what I want to do anymore. Like even I was with his mom for years before we even decided to have, you know, try to have kids. You know,
Hmm.
but that was the first time I actually thought I can't just think of what I want anymore. You know, I mean,
Wow.
there's two other people that are going to depend on me, and that I need to be able there to be there and help take care of. You know,
Yeah,
so that was
you made a choice right there that changed your life, right then and there. That's incredible.
yeah, oh yeah, no, it was very eye opening and scary as all hell too, to be honest with you.
I mean, no doubt about that. Yeah, I'm not a
Yeah.
father, but I I've been scared a few times. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I can
well, I
understand.
mean, no, no, you get scared when you're nervous and you know it's a little scary when they're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
But once it's out, right, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm just like, you know, I realized that it was that moment, and then when we brought him home, and she was quick, she went back to work when she could,
Yeah.
and the first time she left and went to work, and it's just me and this baby in our house, and I'm sitting there, and she's gone. I watched the car drive away, and I looked down at the boy in my arms and just thought, well, looks like it's just you and me, boy.
Here we
And
are.
yeah, yeah, like what do I do with this? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was insane, and then you just realize, oh, okay, you know, this is what I do now. You know, I gotta take care of this guy. You know, make sure everybody's happy, and do my best to buy them. You know, and that's to be honest, that's really all you can do.
Yeah.
But I think, and like I was saying, I just think people get lost in themselves. You know, as adults, even when they have children. You know, it's
Yeah.
really easy to do.
I think those are fantastic sentiments, even about fatherhood. Those are beautiful stories.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Hillbilly Harry. It's been a great conversation. I really do think the more I talk to you, the more I'm thinking, bro, you better write this fucking book, bro. Uh,
I think I'm going to start outlining today. I'll come up with some points and things like that. Just get a little going on it.
Bro, you got so much, man. We just covered it, in this hour. You got so much just to put in there, so much that, I've benefited just from having this conversation with you. That I know that, and I'm not even a parent yet, but I mean, like when I am a parent, I'll be like, okay, what did, other fathers, what do they do? What did Hillbilly Harry do? How did he get his son up there? Because I'm gonna want my son to be up there too. And so I really appreciate you. I really appreciate the chat, and I look forward to chatting with you some more.
No, yes, I would love to talk with you anytime.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.